don't see anything that we should get too excited about tonight, do you?
But look how
I
I
know.
figured out how to read them.
You just have to hold it that way, right? Oh, well. I look to see if anything says high density, because if it does, it means we get the pitchforks and the torches out there. We don't have that, then we're pretty good. Steve, is that a self-portrait?
Yep.
Okay.
Evening. What's that? I'm well. How are you, of course? Well, that's pretty good. That's not true.
How was your meniscus from?
Look at Kevin's.
Nice.
They're gonna talk with them. And
Yeah, very cool. Taurus. All right, it is, are you recording, Steve? All right, it is 6 o'clock, so we're going to call to order the Planning Commission meeting for today, which is May 10th of 2022. We appreciate the members of the public that are here today, and we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Collins. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do any of the commissioners have a conflict that they need to declare tonight?
No,
no.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our second agenda item, which is approval of the March 22nd, 2022 work session minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. The next item is to approve the April 12th, 2022 Planning Commission minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from that date.
We have a second?
Second.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Approval of the March 26th, 2022 work session minutes. Or sorry, April, yeah. Good catch, April.
Make a motion to approve April 26th work session minutes.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Collins, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously as well. We will move on to agenda item number 5, which is a continuation. And this is to consider amendments to Title 10 of zoning regulations, general property development standards, amending Table 10.1, maximizing building heights, and Chapter 31, definition, amending the definition of building height. And this is a continuation. We won't have a public hearing tonight on this, but this is from the meeting where we did have a public hearing on that, so.
If the commission remembers, we had a couple people who had spoken during the public hearing, one in particular, Mike Brodsky, who brought up an issue, and it was a little confusing what he was trying to say. Plus, he didn't quite read the definition, so we brought it back to the work session, April 26th. We talked about it some more. So it really is just bringing it back for you guys to look at and vote on it. So just so the public understands, it's just really looking at the sign or the height, how we measure height of a building. So there's 2 sections of the code that have how we measure. The first one is in Chapter 10 of the zoning ordinance. So right now you've got the existing language, and the proposed language is just, in this particular case, is to remove measuring by building code. Before we had building code and then a small definition. So here it is to just bring it in as one, so remove the building code. The other section is the actual definition of building height, or height building, however you want to say it. So it was a very simple, almost 2-sentence long definition. And then from our conversations over the last 3 or 4 meetings, this is kind of the new definition of that. It basically it's taking most of the old definition of how and where we measure, but also including kind of if it's on a slope and how we measure that, and kind of take it into to account for a slope, where before it was relying on building code to look at it, and it was by stories, not by height. And then also adding in some pictures kind of showing what equal distance points would be, on a site plan, and then where within on a building you'd measure from. So the midpoint of the roof isn't new, it's part of the old definition on a pitched roof or a hipped roof or what have you, but it also takes into account for flat roofs, old definition just at the top of the cornice or the ridge. So we didn't really change that. It was just more of on a slope, this is where we're gonna, and how we're gonna measure. So kind of consistent with how our conversations have been, staff would recommend approval of this change.
And I did notice the language that requires 1 point minimum per side of the house.
Yeah, it's 4
On each
points
facade.
per facade, or 1 point.
Minimum
Per
of one
facade,
per.
yeah.
And I think that addressed the concerns that Commissioner Feld had
Correct.
in the work session, so.
Then I had Andy look at it. Brody wasn't there that day, so I had Andy take a look at it, and he agreed that that wowould solve that problem.
Yep, I like the language you came up with there, so. Any discussion?
Because that was
With the item.
originally 3 points, right?
It went from 3 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was nothing that required one to
Right.
be on a specific side, so there was a way that you could kind of, it would take some work, but you could have had a little bit of an
You
open
could have 2 points on
interpretation.
the small side, 1 on the high, and kind of cheat it. So this makes it so you're having 1 on each facade.
Well,
Any other discussion on it? And we are able to make a motion on that if anybody wants to as well.
so we just make a motion to change the language, or,
Well, you're recommending approval to the city council.
oh, okay. I make a motion that we recommend approval of this to the city council.
I second.
Have a second? This will be a roll call vote.
Commissioner Tanner,
Aye.
Commissioner Collins,
Aye.
Commissioner Spar,
Aye.
Commissioner Cowley,
Aye.
Commissioner Brand,
Aye.
Commissioner Holbert.
Aye.
Thank you. Passes 6-0.
All right, we will move on to agenda item number 6, which is a public hearing to consider amendments to Title 13 Sign Regulations, Chapter 4 Regulation of Signs, amending Section 3 Signs that require a permit, amending monument signs, pole signs, and electronic message signs, and adding projecting signs, projecting marquee signs, and awning signs. That's a mouthful.
That was a mouthful, sorry.
And again, this is an item that we've discussed a few times, had a work session on, and this will eventually go into a public hearing tonight. So if there are members of the public that would like to comment on this, we will open up some time for them.
Okay. So as mentioned, the mouthful, most of it came when we were looking at the mixed-use ordinance for downtown. That code introduced a couple different types of signs. That chapter was removed from the proposed ordinance, but it made sense to bring it back, especially if you're going to have buildings closer to the street, having projection signs to kind of help see. Awnings will come into play, so why not allow for awnings and have signs on them? And then also take a look at our monument signs. Usually, most monuments you think are just low to the ground and wide. We do have one business that would like to have a monument sign skinny but tall. It didn't quite fit the pole sign requirements. It didn't quite fit the monument sign. So we kind of came up with some language to call one horizontal and one vertical, keeping kind of the same allowance for size and width for the vertical as the same as the horizontal. So as you see here, this portion of it, not just adding in horizontal monument signs, but also removing regional commercial, because we no longer have that zone, and then adding in the 3 downtown districts, plus the one at the train station, the central. Again, on C, it's just adding in the word horizontal. It deals more with residential. So you'll notice some subdivisions have a sign as you enter the subdivision, whatever it happens to be. Those are allowed. They do have particular things that they have to do, and only certain sizes they can be, but it is allowed. And then introducing a vertical monument sign in those same zones that are mostly commercial in nature or manufacturing. Not really changing the height and keeping the height and width kind of the same for horizontal and vertical. And then the other signs that were talked about during the mixed-use code, sorry, ahead of myself, looking again at the regional commercial, taking that out of the pole sign portion, adding in the downtown, adding in the projection signs, which was part of the mixed-use code, where we talked about how many, what zones, what the height clearance is, so people like Brody don't hit it. Even though 8 feet might still, there might be a few people here and there, but 8 feet is usually typical in most downtowns or historic districts, an 9 foot distance. Allowing for marquee signs or projection marquee signs, very similar to what the Egyptian Theater, or I can't remember the name of the business down on 25th Street that has a dragon on it, but we showed pictures during our discussion. Again, allowing for it. Now, during the work session last time, we talked about EMC signs allowed on that and a percentage. If you noticed the mouthful that you talked about, when I went to the EMC portion of it, I needed to take out regional commercial, so I added it in here. So I just basically said an EMC is part of that, and we just go to the EMC section on the percentage that's allowed. We talked about keeping it consistent. Doesn't matter if it's a pole sign, monument sign, or marquee sign, or what have you, it's 50% of the total signage can be an EMC. So that's why I didn't have it in here. I left it in the EMC portion so we didn't have, confusion of why is it in this one, but not everywhere else, but in here, so. Awning signs, again, just kind of looking at it, knowing others are gonna start looking at having monument signs, especially close to the street. If you're facing west, you're gonna have a lot of sun in come through, so awnings will be things that you look at and want. And then here's the electronic message. We'll change it from 4 to 7, taking out the regional commercial, and then adding in language just so it has the other zones in it as well. And then changing canopy signs for gas stations and home occupations to 8 and 9. So staff would recommend that you recommend to the council for approval. Any questions?
Any questions?
No, that's pretty much everything that we talked about in our work session. So, good job, Steve. All right, I make a motion that we approve this.
Hold on, we need to do a public
Public
hearing
hearing.
first.
All right, we'll let the public talk.
So, all right, if there's,
Make a motion to go into public hearing.
okay, we have a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we'll open up the time for the public to come up. Please come forward, state your name and your address. Speak clearly into the microphone so that we can hear you. In public hearings, we do like people to limit their comments about 3 minutes. Now, we don't have a lot of people here, so we can be a little bit flexible on that, but we just like people to be concise. But if you have any comments on the proposed sign ordinance, please come forward and tell us what you think. Raise your hand if any of you want to speak. Okay, I don't see any then, so another motion is in order.
I'll make a motion that we close public hearing.
All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now if we can have further discussion, or a motion is in order at this time.
Well, after hearing from the public, I agree with their sentiment, and I recommend that we approve this for the city council.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the sign ordinance as it's stated in the agenda, or in the packet, sorry.
And I second that.
We have a second. All right, and this will also be a roll call vote.
Mr. Holbert,
Oh, I'm first this time. Aye.
Commissioner Brand,
Aye.
Cowley,
Aye.
Parr,
Aye.
Commissioner Collins,
Aye.
Commissioner Tanner.
Aye.
0.
All right, we will now move on to item number 7, which is to consider a request for a site plan and architectural review approval for Dollar Tree, located at approximately 3610 West, 5600 South. So first of all, we'll have the applicants please come forward. And we'll have you state your name and address and then tell us about your project there for Dollar Tree.
Oh, thank you. I'm Alexis Riggs. My address is 47 North, 100 West in Brigham City, Utah.
I'm Michael McFarland. My address is 285 North Angel Street in Kaysville, Utah.
Want to present?
Yeah, sure. So we've been working on a site plan application for next to the Kents on the empty parcel there to the side for a Dollar Tree building there. We're with a company called Leading Tech Development. We've done probably close to 300 Dollar Trees, Family Dollars, where have a good relationship with them. They've identified the city of Roy as a potential spot, and we're working with the owner of Kent's to try and make a Dollar Tree fit there on the side. We've submitted a site plan application showing, parking is adequate. There's enough space for the building. Everything can meet the codes required there, as well as an exterior elevation. Quick comment on the exterior elevation. Probably about 2 hours before we came to this, we got an email back from the development committee, Dave Lloyd for Kent, saying that he'd like us to meet the CCNRs. So this is a prototypical building that we've used on several Dollar Trees. Just completed one like this in Eagle Mountain, doing one in Salem. But some of those CCNRs is that we won't be able to do the arch on the top because that will go above their CCNR restriction of 27 feet. So it'll have a flat line there. I've got an updated elevation that we were able to put together in the last hour. So it's not 100%, but I can show this to you. They also wanted more split face CMU blocks. So it'll have some columns with CMU block on them going up the sides to try and match kind of the architectural elements of the Kents there. And then the sides of the building will be mainly CMU block because it'll be right next to the Kents, so it won't be seen by anything, and there's an empty parcel next to us where they expect another building to come. So they said just do CMU block there for fire codes and things like that, and it won't be seen. So we will get an updated elevation to you. I apologize. We just found out right before we came. But those are the main changes that we'd make to that exterior elevation. You guys have any questions?
So the one question I have, and it may not be germane to the project, but I mean, it is kind of, but that's where the trucks go through for Kent's, is through that side parking lot to the west. And you've got parking on the west there. Is that going to be problematic in that area?
So, sorry, I'm gonna walk over here.
Yeah, so the trucks go in right where that aisle is to your left. Yeah. So that's where the trucks go in to go back behind Kent's to do the restocking. Yeah.
I believe the new tractor motion for them will be to come behind, so they'll be coming behind our building as well, so they'll be stocking back here.
But they'll be going through that parking lot that you've got there, right?
So they go onto the side,
Yeah.
back around, and then they turn around. So there's a WB 57. I don't know if we sent you that trucking motion, but they'll come from that side entrance, go along what would be the west of our building, go around, do their delivery, and then turn around. Or they'll probably back into their delivery. Is there a delivery in the rear of there?
Their delivery's right here.
Yeah, so then they'll
Yeah.
back in there and then go out.
So we can send you guys the updated trucking motion, because Dollar Tree's delivery will be back here as well. So the trucking motion will have to work for both Kent's and Dollar Tree.
Okay, yeah, it just looks like you have parking stalls on that west side, and that's where that trucks and stuff would be going through, so.
Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, the trucking motion will come down through here. So it will come down the side of it, but these parking stalls will still be available.
okay.
I think we'll get, you guys can see exactly how it lines up with the site plan and where it affects parking.
Any other questions from the commissioners? All right, thank you very much for coming and doing the presentation. Steve, you're up now.
Okay, as mentioned, this is a site plan and architectural review for a Dollar Tree. In light of the kind of the CC&R changes to the architecture, we'll probably just bring that back once we get it for you to approval. So we'll just do site plan tonight and then bring that other one back. But I don't think it's going to cause major issues. Just again, it's going to be a little different. So let's, rather than you guys approving this one and then have to come back and approve another one, we'll just bring it back. It is a vacant parcel that's consistent there now, other than the parking stalls right near the building. Everything else is existing. So the one island that's down there, plus the stalls that are along the west side and the north side exist. So most of the trucking will just have to comply with the existing parking layout that's there. The building doesn't take up the entire vacancy of the property. So the trucks would actually have a better chance of making it to the back than they do currently. But again, if they show that to me, I can send it to you, but it wouldn't necessarily be something we'd have to look at. They would want to make sure trucks can get there. But the site plan wise, it was one of those more difficult things to look at. Parking wise, they got more than they'll ever need, mostly because most of it was already built out. So the new stalls that they've put in is just because it was either that or more landscaping, and you know, why not put some parking near the building. The site is really just consistent with the existing site that's there. They do have, you know, just some constraints of being able to where to put the building versus everything else, but it all fits. The elevations that we were given appeared to meet the ordinance, but again, I think we should just hold off on approving that and wait to see what the new one looks like, just so you're approving something that hasn't got bigger changes. Height-wise, if they can only go 27 feet, it won't ever hit the maximum, which in this zone is 40 feet, so they're well below that. And again, as long as they just have every 30 feet have some sort of elevation or not facade change, it should meet the ordinance. So I don't think there'd be much, but I'd probably say just bring it back. So staff would recommend approval. Of the site and just table the architecture so we can get it, and we'll just bring it back next meeting.
Yep. I do have one question that doesn't relate directly to this, but it's in that same area. I know the number one complaint I get from my neighbors is right on that street with all the semi trucks and things like that that park there. And if we're going to keep putting more businesses, which is a great thing, I'm definitely in favor of that. But it makes it really difficult to even see out of there, out of the driveway as you're going west into that road. What would it take to maybe make that no parking along that road? Because if you go there any Friday, that little stretch in between 5500 and
approaches.
It would take a council approval of that because it is a public road.
because if you go there any Friday night, I mean, it's just packed with semi-trailers, and, you know, it is kind of really a safety issue there, so that's something maybe I can
So you would just have
talk
to
with
bring it
them
up to the
about.
council to approve.
Would there be an opportunity maybe to widen the road to alleviate some of that traffic congestion?
Who would be widening it?
You'd have to go into the property further to the west, because Kent's already has it
Right.
curb
Yeah,
and
we'd have
gutter.
to purchase some property, or that property owner would have to alleviate it. I believe it is already a 60-foot right-of-way, so it would be the city who would have to widen it.
So that doesn't affect your project, but just a broader comment there, so.
We're gonna do two separate, or can I do it in one?
We're gonna
Do
do
the
one.
site and
yep.
then do the architecture.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the site plan for the Dollar Tree at approximately 3610 West, 5600 South.
All right, we have a motion to approve the site plan.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
We're tabling the architecture.
I would, just because there will be changes enough that,
Show you this, and you guys can decide if you want to table this or if you want
oh, yeah.
Is that okay if I bring this up?
Sure.
This will kind of be what it looks like. You can see at least the front elevation is gonna be the main one. The side one will just be mainly CMU
Yeah, so instead of the arch, it'll be
Yeah,
flat.
so I mean,
straight across
if
the
you like
top.
kind of the concept,
Yeah,
I would just approve it, subject to make sure that it meets the DRC comments on it and that it meets the code, so I'll just review it and look at it, and if it needs to change, then we have, you know, you'd have the, kind of the, okay.
Change these to match what?
Yeah, conceptually, it should work. The materials, I didn't want to pass around the big block. Alexis carried it in, and she had her workout for the day. So it's split CMU, kind of a gray, and then here's the stucco colors that come with it.
Fine to me.
And color-wise, I think they're going to try to blend more with what's existing there. That was originally our prototypical colors,
Oh, sure,
but now they're gonna try to,
just change it.
again, go with the CC&Rs and blend and try to make it look more of what's existing there, but
I know.
we'll make it look uniform and blend and look really nice. In fact, our owner is very picky about
Yeah.
making things look
Correct.
very nice.
So if that's the case, then, you know, those colors meet the code.
Yeah, they do.
Then again, it could be pink and purple, and it would meet the
Yeah.
code, so.
We
Oh.
do not plan on doing that.
So I think you just, you know, you can make a motion to approve it and just make sure that the DNRC comments for it are complied with.
Okay.
Then I can do a fine tooth comb, make sure it complies.
I
rather
feel
than tabling.
comfortable with that.
Who started? Do you want to finish?
They started this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a motion that we approve the architectural design.
With conditions,
With the conditions of the
future DRC.
future DRC. I couldn't hear you, but I got help from my
No, you're
friends up here, so.
Chris has been around a while.
Oh, that was Jason.
Oh,
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Well, thank you and welcome to Roy. It's always great to see new businesses come in, and that's right. That's like 2 blocks from my house, so we appreciate you coming in.
We're
Gonna say I'll
excited. It's been great working
probably
with you
be there
guys.
Thank you.
I don't have to go to Clinton.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 8, which is to consider a request for architectural review approval for Sacco's located approximately 6050 South, 1900 West.
Hi.
So welcome. We'll have you state your name, address, and tell us about your project.
House address or Sacco's address?
Your address, your
Okay.
house address.
So I'm Brandy Fowers. I live in Bear River City, up my tree mountain. It is 5675 North, 4800 West, Bear River. And what else do you want to know?
Just tell us
Life
about your
history.
project.
Okay.
Yeah.
The project is I took on Sacco's. Yikes. It's going to be great. We're farmers. We're Fowers from Hooper. We sold our farm right before the crash and moved to Box Elder County. We sold 50 acres and farm now 500 acres. My main home-based office is Brigham City, but I'm really, really interested in educating the public on how you can, where your food comes from, right? So like my 16 and 18-year-old boys will be providers of this, not this year because it's like a year, we bought it too late. So we'll take this year at, just kind of revamping Sacco's, but really making it still be Utah-based crops. They'll be my own children that are growing the crops. So the proposal for tonight is I want to change it from yellow and green. I'm true farmhouse style. I like the little bit more contemporary farmhouse, traditional farmhouse. And actually, just so you know, wait, don't pass that. This is the true color because my painter goes, Randy, I don't use that. I use Sherman-Williams. And I was like, okay, sorry. So this is the true black and white. So the pole's black, and it's Sherman-Williams black. So everything that's kind of in the yellow will be black. The hint of green on the metal awning will still stay because it's an accent color to the new logo. And everything else is pretty well white. So it's trimmed in black, everything else updated white. New glass is coming as well. So it'll just be trimmed in black. So all the particle board and all that good stuff will be gone as well. So we're just really trying to bring it back to a little more enchanting place for you to buy your local items. So that's really all I want to do is paint tomorrow. They're on schedule as soon as you say go.
Awesome. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
No, but I did want to say I've seen the updates you're doing, and
Thank you.
it looks like a lot of hard work, but it looks
Is.
really nice.
I cried on the floor for about 2 hours
Yeah.
yesterday. I'm hand stenciling the floor.
Yeah, I would too if
So-
I were hand stenciling. the
I
floor,
know.
yeah.
So I'm hand stenciling the floor. The floor will be black and white, just really true, like updated. I mean, he was amazing. It worked for him since 1969, but really to bring more people in and really educate the public, I want it to be a very, I hate to say it, Joanna Gaines space, right? Because it just feels a little bit different. We're planning on incorporating like dinner boxes and things like that. But again, all local, everything Utah based. So I love it. I'm super excited, but it's also a lot of hard work. So if you want to pick up a paintbrush, I'll be stenciling for the rest of my life till I get it done. It's a 16 by 16 square. Just me and my cute little mother, the whole floor. So anyway, so that's it. Just black and white and pretty, with a hint of brown.
And what's going where the particle board is?
Glass.
Oh,
All
okay.
brand new
Oh, so the
glass.
whole front will be.
The whole front is exactly the same. I'm not changing anything structural because I know better
right.
than that. I don't want to go through all of those rules. So everything, so the brown, they're oil-based brown, bronze brown frames, but they look black because black I can't get. There's just, you're in a 2-year holding pattern. So like all of this will be, but I can only afford sections at a time. So as you see it, you'll get, it's starting from the main entrance section. So we're going to flip the entrances. So everything starting Friday will get a section as I can afford it. So it'll all get new proof glass, which will help efficiency and things like that. So really just glass and paint is all I'm doing. So, and changing out the 1980s ceiling fans. I did chicken wire ceiling fans. So that's it. So.
Very cool. Thank you very much. I'm maybe jumping the gun here, but I think it's awesome. You know, Sacco's is just kind of one of those icons of Roy that everybody, when you try to describe where Roy is, you say the Air Force Museum and the fruit stand Sacco's, and everybody knows where it's at. So I think it's awesome that we've got somebody willing to invest in the community. And I love Brigham City going to all the fruit stands, but it's nice that we don't have to do that. You can get the same quality produce here right in our neighborhood. So
my hometown people, right? Like my core is Box Elder County, and my kids go to school there. They're FFA kids, they're farm kids, they're like, and I really want to bring that back to where we're both from. Like my husband grew up in Hooper, like Roy High was his school. I can't get him to drive down here at all anymore, but it's traffic. But I just feel really passionately about and my grandpa was Greek and he knew Dominique really well because he was in the produce business. He was the owner of the Hermitage up the canyon. And so for me, it's like old soul worlds matching up and continuing his legacy, Dom's too, doing something, but just in my own spin. So, yeah, so thank you for saying, because this is a lot of work. I've owned it 15 days and I think I've cried.
and I can tell you're passionate about it. So I truly appreciate that.
Thank you. Come in.
Thank you. We will definitely will.
We would love to see you in. Like I said, I really, really want to do dinner boxes. I'd like to incorporate meat. He's never had meat, grass-fed beef and things like that. I'm trying to pair up with, if you've ever had Bingham meats up in Morgan.
Yep.
Bingham bombs. Wouldn't it be fantastic?
The chicken bombs are great.
If Sacco's now carries Bingham bombs.
We're good.
It's on the list.
Excellent.
So, yeah. Anyway, thanks
We do
for letting
have-
me tell everything.
Real quick, we do have one question.
Yes.
from
I have a
Commissioner
question
Brand.
and a comment. The question is, are you going to be providing us with grape tomatoes?
Great tomatoes. I'll do my best. Whatever I can provide. There's 50 people he knew that I'm still working on.
Oh, great. All right.
Great tomatoes. I will work
Yeah,
on
the
that.
little, cherry type tomatoes and whatnot that Howland's makes, but he ships them to California now.
Yeah, well, and I have, where we're in the growing community,
Yeah.
it's kind
like
of
it.
cool. I'll still use Kenny McFarland for like sweet corn and stuff like that, just because sweet corn's its own ballgame. We do 75 acres of onions for big production, where we've never done small production. So this is a
Different.
changing game for us as
Well,
well.
we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And by the way, whoever put the sign up that says thanks for the memories made my heart stop the first time I saw it. I thought they were going out of business, so I'm glad to see you there.
Everybody did. Like, it's been a hard thing. It's been hard on them.
I'm sure.
I talk to Candy almost every day just to kind of keep things like, like they're so grateful, but in one sense, how do they know life any different, So I've been through it. My grandparents, like I said, so when they lost the Herm in the fire. So anyway, yep, so thank you for saying, thank you for allowing me to be your Roy City, and I really won't be a pain. I just want to be clean and crisp and fresh. So I think it will be. And I try and do things right. So sometimes, I'll put the sign out before you say I can. I'm just kidding.
All right, thank you.
As long as it's for grape tomatoes, he won't complain.
Yeah, great tomatoes. Well, and just so you know, that's the one thing that they said, how about all of those signs? And I said, the 1969 particle board signs are actually already gone.
Yes.
I would like some fresh, when we get to that
Well,
point.
we just passed a sign ordinance, so you know what you can do.
Yeah, I know.
But you've got fast signs that's brand new to Roy. Well, I guess it did come
And they're
from
just like
to
2
Roy,
doors
so you've got
down.
them. Yeah, so
So-
they can hook you up.
Yeah, so we'll do clean and fresh. Just know that that's the goal, is just kind
Excellent.
of, to get people in the door and really educate people of how great Utah is. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
okay, thanks.
All right, Steve, we'll turn it over to you for a minute.
I don't know if I need to say anything.
I know, you should never give me a microphone.
Well, say welcome to Roy.
I mean, the colors meet the ordinance. I think the original building had mostly glass throughout. I mean, you see the plywood that's there. I think it's just
Yeah.
covering a broken glass panel. So, anything that is better than it has been. So, they're going to bring a little more, I hate to say it this way, but style, class into that little corner as you enter Roy. So,
Your Roy City signs there. I have to be like, I have to.
Yes.
so staff would recommend approval.
Excellent. All right, any further discussion or a motion is in order?
I move that we recommend approval of the architectural review with the conditions as stated within the staff report.
I have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We're gonna go with Commissioner Holbert. Got the second in first. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes unanimously. So congratulations and welcome to Roy.
You'll start seeing it tomorrow. Drive by.
Excellent. If you need your fix of fresh paint smell, you know where to
Know where to
tomorrow,
go.
right? So next we'll go to Commissioner's Minute. I don't have anything. Do any of the other commissioners have anything that they would like to bring up?
No.
I just had a question for Steve. I remember they came in here and they were paying the Deal Depot. I thought they said they were gonna do the rest of the building too.
They are,
What
their
happened?
painter, when they made him stop, or when I made him stop, went to another project, and now he's scheduled out for a while, so they're trying to get him back.
Okay, I thought maybe you really scared them off or
No.
something.
No,
Took him in the back and said, don't you ever do this again, so I don't know.
no, they're just trying to get him back after some other projects, so.
Okay. I just drive by it every day and say like, hey, I thought we said it's
Yeah.
okay, now you can paint it, and now they're not, so.
No, that's right.
And that's all full now, isn't it? Like, isn't there
No.
a business in every, what one's missing?
Well, the Indian restaurant, I guess, still has to go in, right?
Yeah, we're the,
It's in the process.
whatever was it called?
I think it's,
Pan Express, they've got a
Ganesh.
Ganesh.
Yeah.
Deal Depot actually doesn't occupy the entire old
Oh,
Planet,
okay.
Planet Fitness. So there's still some space in there, and they're looking at subdividing inside to have another business in there, but
okay,
I
I
mean,
didn't
it-
realize
it's-
that.
95% occupied.
Okay, with that, we will move on to the next agenda item, which is the staff update.
I really don't have anything new. I think we talked about most of it last time, so.
Okay, well, that makes it easy. We're on to the last item of the agenda. If anyone would like to make a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I second that.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
He actually said aye.
Wow.
I said aye.
Wow.
Said it the last couple times.
Is this tic-tac-toe 3 in a row?